What if the Titans never existed in the Skibidi toilet series? Would something be used to replace them? How would that change the plot of the series? And most importantly, how do the normal agents compare with the Skibidi Titans? Truth be told, this video was extremely hard to cope with. As yeah, we all know the Alliance are doomed without their daddies. But in any case, we would see how the toilets and agents would fare up in this timeline. And believe me when I say the outcome is just crazy. Also, with the absence of the Titans, it is logical to assume that the technologies and overall power of the Alliance would grow exponentially faster compared to the way they did in the original story. And with that out of the way, let's begin. We'll start from episode 18. Well, nothing to worry there, as we believe that the agents could have still survived if Titan cameraman didn't show up to aid them. Although with high difficulty, but they still pass episode 18. However, episode 19 would be different. As we saw, the camera Titan had to fight against the three-headed toilet, which would be no easy opponent for the Alliance. As we saw, even the structure of this Molten was made to counter the method. The cameras used to take down huge enemies because there are three heads, and the one at the back can protect the flush levers at the front. And even if they managed to take down the one at the back first, it would only cause awareness for the ones at the front. What I'm trying to say here is that the agents can't be able to defeat this Molten themselves. So what would they then use? Well, it seems you're forgetting someone, the Camera Strider, but in a much more upgraded form, since we said the growth in technology would increase exponentially. So yeah, we would get to see this bad boy much sooner. And yeah, there is no doubt that this Strider would easily take down this Molten. I mean, this guy forced G-Man to use his energy shield, something that he would only use if the attack of his opponent is potent enough to damage him. And remember, this is the current version of G-Man whose endurance and durability is crazy high. So yeah, all it would take is a simple charged blast, and this Molten would be in the past. The next episode, however, would sadly go the same way it did in the original story. Why? Well, it's not because the Camera Strider is weaker than this version of G-Man, but because of the kamikaze Jimmy used to take down the Camera Titan, and I believe it would also hit the Strider and take it down. After all, it did blow off the camera's shield and his arm at the same time. But on a little credit to the Strider here, we believe that he would at least be able to land some multiple shots on Jimmy before that, and thus would at least give G-Man some damage. As you may have noticed, it is obvious the Alliance would pretty much have more difficulties as the story progresses. So in reality, this video would not analyze the entire story, but would only consider the changes and how many times the Alliance would lose without the Titans in every Titan-related video. Pick a number, and let's see if by the end of the video, you can get close to how many times the Titans' presence saved the Alliance, or the series plot in general. So let's continue with another cool scene when the Skibidis were able to enter the camera's lab. And this time, instead of seeing the Camera Titan getting his repairs, they would see multiple Camera Striders. And obviously, they would easily get destroyed with just a single blast as well. A small change, but yeah, still worth mentioning. The next important scene is in episode 26, when the Speaker Titan arrived in the series. It is also important to note that the Boom or Speaker Strider has already been introduced in the previous episode. And another thing to point out here is that the camera agents wouldn't be struggling against the Skibidis. In fact, they would have the advantage since, like I said at the start of the video, the agents' overall strength would increase due to advancements. For example, they would now be able to use some cool weapons and gadgets that would aid them in the battle, and thus even large Skibidi Moltens wouldn't be that much of a problem. So in this case, this large Skibidi would be easily taken care of by the Speaker Strider. After all, we did see how it handled multiple Moltens, and there was even a large one amongst them. Another very interesting change is that the parasite wouldn't exist. Why? Well, hear me out. The parasite was first seen in episode 30, and this was only possible because some group of agents was defeated in the previous episode by the glitch Skibidi. However, this would not be the case in this timeline, as, like I said, the agents have gotten a lot more powerful and also got good weapons as well. So there is no way the glitch Skibidi is taking them out, but rather they would be the one to kill him instead. And thus the glitch Skibidi dies much easier and earlier too. Thus, the infection arc would not occur, as the Alliance would continue to dominate. And remember, the Striders are still always there to help, and wait till you see the ultimate weapon the Alliance would build to stop troublesome characters like G-Man and the Scientist later on in the video. Also, taking things even further, Since the Speaker Titan doesn't exist in this timeline, they wouldn't be able to infect him like they did. And I am pretty sure their parasite cannot infect robots, like the Striders. So the agents would still be taking the upper hand in this battle. And we wouldn't get to lose characters like the Scientist. Yeah, ironic, right? Moving on to another huge difference in the story. Since in this timeline the Titans don't exist, there would be no epic battle between the Cinema Titan and infected Speaker. And also, this Multant wouldn't exist. Or rather, it wouldn't be this model. As we all know, this Multant was specifically made to counter the TV Titan. And even if he was in the series, he would be easily defeated by the Striders or a group of agents. But now, since the TV Titan wouldn't be around to follow the Speaker Titan, let's assume that Mr. Jimmy comes to attack the Alliance himself, after getting a few repairs from the initial damage he took while fighting the Strider. From what we've seen, this version of G-Man has more attachment to his body that increases his durability, and he would now have increased power output from his laser blasters and eye lasers. However, seeing that Jimmy is faced with not one, but multiple camera Striders, some improved agents, and also the Speaker Strider as well, we would safely assume that Jimmy would not be able to handle the agents alone at this level of power, and when he is beginning to see that he truly can't cope, Jimmy would make a tactical retreat. But wait, before some of you say in the comments that G-Man would have a plan to take this win, I want to say that we also took that into consideration, but still, this would be just too much. I mean, I asked you guys who was actually stronger between this version of Jimmy and the Strider, and the result was quite understandable. But now, what if there were multiple versions of them? Truth be told, I think G-Man miserably loses to 3 Striders. But in any case, let us know what you think in the comments. Episode 48 and 49 would be quite similar, but with only some little differences. As this time, as I said, the agents wouldn't be struggling with this versions of Multant. But still, I believe that the Skibidi would still manage to cut the Scientist cameraman, so we would still get to see his mecha version. However, I'm not sure if characters like Simp Cameraman would exist, or rather become a simp, because he only began to fall for TV Woman as she saved him. But this time, that would not be the case, as he would, alongside his team, hold their own. And since he doesn't become a simp, this cameraman now becomes quite irrelevant, as he was only known by fans because of him and TV Woman's drama. I know some of you might still be wondering why the agents are having this much advantage. Well, hear me out. Up until episode 53, we really haven't seen the agents use powerful weapons against the Skibidis. I mean, you can see the difference in strength and how they started matching up with Multants when they all used good weapons. Yeah, they weren't on the win all the time. But still, you can't compare the overall strength of the old Multants to the ones they are fighting now. So yeah, the agents would have some upper hand when fighting these versions of toilets. However, episode 50 would be quite something else, as in this episode, we saw that in order to stop the Skibidis that were infiltrating the camera's base, the upgraded Camera Titan had to show up and take them down. However, since he doesn't exist in this timeline, what would the agents do? Well, it is quite debatable, but I still think the Striders alongside some powerful agents would be able to take them down. And let's not forget that the glitch Skibidi was also taken down, so I think his technology would also be put into use. But this time, I don't think Plungerman would be the user of this technology since he came a little late to the series. Overall, the agents would be able to defeat all the Skibidis and thus save their base, although with a mid-difficulty, but this would totally be the case. Like I said, guys, this video was really difficult to come up with. However, if this video gets 1,000 likes, I would continue from this point. I mean, you don't have to miss the ultimate weapon the agents would use later on in the story and how they would fight against the Astro Toilets. Check out this video if you want to see 5 episodes of Skibidi Toilet you should never watch. Come on, let's go together.